Hey, good morning.
Good morning, everyone on Instagram and Marriage Matters Facebook
Marriage Matters Facebook. Hey,
Live.
Tabitha. Let me wave.
Good
I'm waving.
morning.
I'm waving early, Tabitha. I got you. Yeah, I got you this time. I
Good
was
morning,
quick on the
everyone.
draw.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
fine. All right,
Say
I
we
don't know
can't
what's
tag
going
people.
on. All right.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. That's who I am. I think I got a dent in my head. Oh my goodness. Is it a dent in my head?
Oh my goodness, it's supposed to be there.
Oh, like it was
So
only on
good
one
morning.
side.
So what we did was I love the shirt and hat.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Wolverine, yes. Wolverine. X-Men. Right. Right.
So what I did yesterday was put a question out there about what you all, the viewers, the family, would like
Mm-hmm.
to discuss instead of us always, picking topics to discuss. So, and I think it came out fairly well. There's
Oh,
actually
yes.
questions still rolling in, but we decided to take the first four. And
Yes.
so our topic for today is called the viewer's choice,
The
part
viewer's
one.
choice. Yes.
So we want to give some more people time to get in here and um, Tabitha, you get your coffee or your tea or whatever your liquid drug of choice may be for Saturday morning.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know that she had did this type of request until after they started coming in, and it was topics coming in. I think all the way up until around 8:30 or 9.
Uh-huh.
So we'll break those down so that we cover them over however many weeks it takes us to make sure that each one of those we address and we talk about. But it was for interesting study. I can guarantee you that.
Yes, indeed. So I don't know if I'm having some issues. It says that there are some people in the chat.
But it's not, the chat's not coming up.
The chat is not coming up. So I'm gonna ask somebody to type something, please, so I can see who's here and see
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. And I might have to,
You just go on your phone. Oh,
yeah.
where's my phone? Oh,
You want to
just in case.
grab your
Yeah.
phone,
Yeah.
and then that way we're gonna have to use the phone to look at the comments. It's
All
doing
right.
that weird thing again.
Yeah.
So
We'll be all right.
I don't know.
So
So
I'm just gonna go and
yeah. All right, there we go. Charlie, good
Hey,
morning.
good morning, Miss
Millicent
Charlie.
Johnson. Good morning, sister. How are you?
Miss Charlie, you cooking something today? I'm asking everybody. They cooking food.
Tell them no, Charlie. And I know that's not true with you. You always cook. Mm-hmm. Tell my girl I said good morning.
All right. So that way I can be in there. The first one, oh, well, all the scriptures up there, but you gotta know you got them down here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I did include the scriptures this morning in the comments section, so you should be able to see them. But I'm not gonna say who asked the questions because you know who you are. Selling plates tomorrow. See there?
Ooh.
All right. You have to let us know what kind of plates.
Mm. Hand me that tablet, cause
Okay.
I gotta be able to help you with how we going.
All
What
right.
about that index card? Cause we got a lot of stuff. We got
All
all
right.
kind of notes.
So y'all get your pads and pens and however it is you take notes, because this is a note-taking one today.
Yeah, it's a lot. So we are ready. I don't know why I did that. We are ready. Um, Good morning to our Marriage Matters family. I am Gerrol,
I'm Millicent.
and we are going to get started. So today we're talking about the viewer's choice. My wife spent a question out there. What would you like for us to discuss? And wow, they started coming in. So we want to make sure that we honor the requests that you have placed so we can see how we can help each other. Because whatever we wrote, we learned too. So we'll talk about the first one. She's gonna read them out, and then I'm gonna go through our notes so I can find which goes with which.
Okay. So the first question is how to be supportive, how to be a supportive spouse through the pandemic. Good morning, Ms. Doris.
Hey, Ms. Doris. Good morning. So,
how to be a supportive spouse through the pandemic. That's the first question. So that's on the second page.
Okay. So, and then we'll come back through here and hit scriptures too. Okay. It says, being a supportive spouse through the pandemic. Are both spouses working outside the home, or only one, or neither? So one thing about what we do is we try to ask questions because we don't know the extent of the question that we're being asked to cover, but we try to make sure we, hit the topics with some points. So,
and at the same time, we ask questions to make they should be thought provoking. To you, because sometimes you can just start thinking about questions and end up answering them yourself.
So it says, make sure that you are letting each other know that you notice the little things that they do and that you appreciate them. A lot of times we've had this discussion and we talked about things too. And so if somebody has a unmet expectation, and the other person may not understand what their unmet expectation is because it's an assumption that you should know to do it, or you should, at the age you are, you should be, however it is, if you don't accurately or clearly communicate an expectation, then don't be upset when it's unmet.
Right, that's right.
So I'm learning that from a leadership standpoint. You think some people should know to do something, but you have to communicate the expectation. Make sure that you are letting each other know that you notice the little things. So if there's something around the house that the person didn't normally do because outside of the pandemic they were at work, and now they're working from home, acknowledge that.
Right.
Spend the comment about that. That's only adding positivity to the home. Because you're saying something positive about what the spouse did or the children. If they are doing something different, if the children normally get up late and get to class late on the virtual learning, and 3 out of the 5 days they got up and they was at the table or at their spot and was ready to go.
That's a win. Acknowledge that.
That's right. Acknowledge that. So.
Good morning, Davina. Whoop.
I missed something, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
That's all right.
Okay. I wanted that coffee that bad. I'm sorry. And it says, if your spouse is working and you are not, organize your day so that you can make their transition from home to work easier. And we have to deal with that. But the problem with us is that it's not anchored on a schedule. Some days I may be at home, and then some days I may not, and it's not always the same.
Right.
But I'm trying to, they be walking on pins and needles because they don't know if the camera's on or off, and they got to pass through where I am because I don't have an office like some people. So I have to kind of
shade.
I have to,
much cooler.
Yeah, that's stadium shade. Yeah. So I have to just kind of meander through the house where I can find a spot and do my work. But the issue is that if you make your spouse comfortable in that place, even if you just bring them something. My wife brought me a salad Thursday, and so that was good because I guess she knew he ain't getting up, and I know I should have got up because I was just locked in. I got up about 35 minutes later because I was trying to finish something and it was lunchtime. But she brought me something to eat, and that made me feel better, so I appreciate that. So.
And another thing too is, like he leaves and I hadn't done it in a while, but I had an agenda. I made a schedule. I organized myself. He didn't know it because I didn't tell him. But in my own mind, I organized myself to get all his clothes done for the week. So this past week, All he had to do was walk in the closet, pick something, and it was already ironed and ready to go.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yay.
Yay. But it made that transition easier.
And it gave us time to sit down and actually have some kind of conversation other than buy.
It did.
You know, and so
we sat down and had coffee. We actually had devotional before he left out the house because that stuff was already done. I don't have to be on the computer until 8 o'clock. So that was making his transition from home to work easier.
Yep. I got to work. I could be able to do the things that I need to do, so I have to do what's on my board. It makes my transition better for me. It says make their lunch the night before, set all of the things up so they just grab and go. And that's what she was talking about. So if I get up, she'll have my keys, my work keys, my ID, my wallet, and they'll be next to my backpack. My computer either be in the backpack or out, depending on if I got up and started doing some more work. But then when it's time to go, I don't leave anything. The only thing I may leave sometimes going out the door is my phone. But other than that, everything is ready to go. Because she's made my transition at home with virtual sometimes work and then sometimes going out, she made it a lot more easier. And so, you know, you need to express, it says express your appreciation to them for what they are doing for the family. And so we talked about being able to pre-plan and do some things to make the transition easier because that transition could lower stress.
Right.
The level of stress that's lowered, it doesn't lend to an argument or anything like that. It could lead to a real good, legitimate, open conversation that could be good for both because the atmosphere is not full of tension because of what's going on, whether it's at home work or even go out. So these things as being a supportive spouse through the pandemic, if you're working both at home, one of the things I did see, and maybe she can correct me because I saw one where it said that both people need to be isolated through the day so that way when they get off work, they can appreciate, I guess, getting off of work even though they're in the home. I didn't go into a whole lot of points on that because it was saying that this person was on this side, this person on this side. They eat together, but then they go and do their work, and then after that, it is straight family, straight home, do the things you need to do. But I like what my wife put down as far as really being able to look at and express the appreciation of what the spouse does because it's a different element. If the spouse gets up and does something, cooks something, if the spouse gets up, makes the bed while you already go, and when you come out, you can go do something else. I mean, whatever it is, you know.
That's just like yesterday, you know, and it goes both ways. And that's what we, you know, that's what we teach, that's what we practice, you know, is that it goes both ways. He left out of here late yesterday, you know, because of some other issues. And he cooked breakfast for both of us before he left to go to work. I was already working. But the fact that he took time out of his day to do that was an act of love, and he did it and then went on to work.
Yay.
So I appreciate it. It was good, too.
I got one point, y'all. I don't know what my second point's going to be. I got a point for that. Point! Add up your points. So.
All right. I want y'all to chime in. Y'all have some ideas, comments, questions, concerns, issues.
Being a supportive spouse through the pandemic, what can you do to minimize stress, and what can you do to go and be adventurous? So while you all are getting ready to write a comment, because I expect one to be written, there was we were looking at Married at First Sight.
Oh yeah. So
the guy came in, he had all the bags packed, and he said, "We going on a vacation." It was a pandemic, and she was looking at him, pandemic. So but it was during the pandemic, right? So she was like, he said, "Look, we got priority seats." So I'm like, wow, this dude, he opened up all all the doors.
Came in with a rolling luggage.
And so he took his wife into the next room by the balcony of their condo, and he had a pool inside the room with some snorkels, and he had a, what did he have? He had
the little blow up float.
He had a blow up float that was a swan for her and a duck for him, and he had 2 beverages. And so what he said was, I know we couldn't go anywhere. He said, but I wanted to make sure that I give you time to, get your mind off this. So even though they couldn't go like on a real vacation, he set that room up like it was a vacation, and they really had fun, talked. It was like real water in the pool. He had to put towels all around the pool so it wouldn't mess up the floor. But I guess it was the impact of him being intentional about getting her to de-stress. Because they really normally seem like they do okay, but not getting out can be tension for people.
Yeah.
So he really made her smile. They had fun, and it was something that you could do in the space of your own home.
Right. And so that really takes us into question number 2. Is how to cope with feeling trapped in your own home and expressing that to your spouse due to the pandemic. So I'm pretty sure, we don't know, but I'm pretty sure that they probably had some in-depth conversation. With the pandemic, they would normally travel because a couple of times we saw them traveling and doing things with the family. And during the pandemic, they couldn't do it. So he took a bad situation and made the best out of it.
Yeah.
And so that's really one way, really covering the second question is taking a bad situation that, of course, we weren't responsible for. None of us caused this, but we have to deal with the consequences of it. So we have to learn how to find the good. I hear Ms. Bass's voice in my head. Find the good out of every situation and make the best of it.
All right. I don't see no comments, and I know I said, here we go. All right. So Toya said, the fight you choose to battle with your spouse. We all have arguments, but some are not worth arguing over. Time to step back and evaluate the situation, even if it is small. An apology goes a long way. And I'm going to talk about that. You are so awesome.
Amen. Yes, ma'am, yes.
And she got another comment right there. We laugh. We make sure to laugh when we can, as well as help each other out. If we can't, then we take it to God. It is a fight, not it is a fight not with the flesh, but with the spirit.
Yes.
Because remember, we talked about every family, every marriage, any kind of relationship where you are in unification to do something positive. Exactly. The enemy wants to attack that because we're very vulnerable when we're alone. But when we are together, we have more strength.
Right.
Now, for those that are single, you should be in a strong relationship with God, because then that is your mate. That is your friend, your confidant. If not, then you feel so alone. Right. So I want to go in and read this because this kind of goes with 2 after you.
Okay. But LaWanda brought this up too, about never trapped, always free to walk, take a drive. And that's so true, because he talked about that yesterday. Had whatever not been going on. Oh, you said if we were able to.
Oh yeah, we've been gone. We've been gone for 3 days.
Yesterday.
Oh yeah, we was gonna be gone for 3 good days. I was like, we'll come back on Sunday.
But I want to go back to Victoria real quick. And the thing is, there's some of those fights, even the little bitty ones, and I think we talked about this before, is that sometimes it's little underlying stuff that was already there, but it's just that we wasn't in the same space as much with being going to work, so that it wasn't really addressed, or it didn't seem to be such a big issue.
Oh, you got hot, huh? Look at you. Yeah.
Well, you know,
You
that's
talk
what
about
happened. That's what happened when I sit next to you.
Excuse me.
I made you choke.
No. Oh, Tabitha got a comment.
Okay, but then the other thing too. So Tabitha, that's something that we still struggle with too, and we talked about that. Is shutting it down.
Yeah.
You got to shut it down, and it has to be kind of an agreement, you know, between the spouse, because even though it's during the pandemic, it's like you got to have a cutoff point because you get so wrapped up in your work.
Yeah.
Is the family gonna suffer, or is the work gonna suffer, or you gonna find that happy medium?
Well, the family gonna suffer because if you don't shut it down, and so we've struggled with that for like a few months.
Yeah.
Now we've made some compromises, and it's not even, I won't even say the compromise because it's like you just putting your family second or something. But what we did was we just said, look, and if I don't get it done, because she even asked, you not gonna, nope, I'm gonna look nothing else at no device. I don't want to look at a device. I don't want to think, on that, because you're gonna have to find a way. And I find myself not sounding like a hypocrite, I guess, because I've been seeing that, some of my own team, they just going. I'm like, can you stop? Can you stop? Can you slow it? Can you stop? Because I say, if you don't stop, your body gonna make you stop, and then it's gonna take time to recover.
Right.
Because when you go like a wind-up toy, eventually that thing is gonna stop. And when it stops, you're gonna be out. You're just gonna be so tired you can't do nothing, and then you gotta build yourself back up. So life ain't worth that. If you really, we understand we gotta meet deadlines and all that stuff, but the reality is, you like Millicent said, if you don't prioritize time, then you will allow for others to prioritize time for you.
Yeah.
And so
if you don't prioritize your time, you allow others to monopolize all of your time.
So I'm learning to shut it down and get some reasonable sleep, because it still ain't the sleep that that we supposed to be getting.
And not laying there thinking about, what I have to do in the morning. No, that's not rest. And the other thing is, your family, y'all hear me, your family deserves more than 1/4 of you.
Yeah.
Your family deserves more than 1/4 of you. So that's not fair. We understand there's a lot of stuff going on, but we got to prioritize.
And so we just, like today, we're going to do very little. We'll probably fool around the house, make sure everything's clean or whatever.
And we are going to do some work today, but it's agreed upon time.
Yep.
He's going to be working, I'm going to be working. We got a start and a stop time.
Yep.
Cut it off.
And that's it. But the reality is, you have to agree to that. You need to set a boundary on that and just practice it. If you do it 1 week and you only do it 2 days and you backslide the other 3, then compliment yourself on that.
Okay, I am going to read this because we have viewers on another platform.
Yeah.
Even if your spouse is not praying or seeking God with you, it is up to us to petition to God for our marriage. He works better than my slick mouth and sarcastic ways do. Exactly. I get you. I used to think it was him. Wrong. I asked God to search my heart. I needed to be humble no matter how. Won't that be a wake-up call? We were talking about, okay, I need you to fix him. He got this, and this going on. But isn't it funny how he turned the thing around? So, and Victoria, I've been in the same spot. So the thing is while we're going through this, he'll fix whatever's going on with both of us. It's not just one person. It may be one person's actions, but what is your response? We talked about that before too.
You want me to start reading this?
Yeah.
Covering it?
You don't have to do that part. That was just an example.
So what? This one and this one? It says it does make things a little more difficult when you and your spouse look at the pandemic differently. It says we are, excuse me, what is that?
He have trouble reading my.
I'm sure at one time or another, felt feelings of frustration or disgust due to dealing with the result of something that was not our fault.
The pandemic.
The pandemic. And it says if we try to look at the reasons, your spouse feels the way they do about staying home during the pandemic, it will make your understanding better. Because one of the things I want to kind of just share is that if a person's used to being in their office or whatever that is, and whatever their work is while they're working and doing those things, and they have access to it, they might not always have that access at home. Mm-hmm. And they surely may not be able to navigate all of the technology like they want to when there are things that they need to do inside a physical space. It says, this is a question. Number one, is my spouse just trying to keep safe? Is my spouse trying to keep us safe? Or we just, sitting around in the house being bored? Or can we create our own adventures at home? When you're at home, find something to do. Mm-hmm. Today, even though we're probably going to do a little work, my son already said he's going to barbecue today. He's going to call his older sister, and we're going to be outside on that porch and doing something in his house. Mm-hmm. And so he's already made that commitment. That's what he wants to do. And so as a family, we need to honor that, and we need to be a part of that process, have fun, decompress, enjoy each other's company. Because we're not promised tomorrow, and we need to make every moment count. Yeah. I'm going to go back to that. Make every moment count. Don't be looking for ways in which to have arguments and fuss and fight over stuff that doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So just think about what you can do. Think about how you can be a support. Right. Does this comment merit us not talking to each other for 2 or 3 hours over something that shouldn't even be said? Right. Lisa Ross, let me read that. Sometimes we have unrealistic expectations in a marriage. Both people need to focus on the relationship. It's not just one person's job. Mm-hmm. Amen, amen, exactly. Amen. Exactly. I got a question for you. You done hit something that's going to be coming up in 2 more points. And I said it before. It's real difficult to talk about unrealistic expectations when it hasn't been communicated that the person should understand what it is that you want. Point in case, if I expect my wife to cook breakfast and she didn't grow up cooking breakfast as a child, or her parents didn't grow up cooking breakfast as a child and they always went out, mm-hmm. then why should I assume that because she's married to me that she will cook breakfast? Yeah. Unless I communicate that, hey, I would like for you to cook breakfast. I would like for us to eat breakfast together. You don't have to cook every single day of the week, but I would like to be able to spend time. Right. You cook some breakfast and we sit down. But if because you lived in a home where your parents cooked breakfast every day and you were sitting at the table and everybody was the leave it to Beaver or the Wally Cleaver or whatever that is, and y'all sat down, which is fine. I grew up in a situation like that. It was always breakfast. But my issue is that if you have not communicated your expectations to your spouse in a way that you want to be clear that they understood it, mm-hmm. then it's always going to be unrealistic. Right. So it has to be, and then, so there's a lot of other things that come with that, so I'm going to come back to that because we got scriptures to cover all of that. Okay. And Sherry requested to be in the video. We're going to try this, y'all, so let's see. What did I hit? This?
I think so.
Oh, I don't want to hit
view.
All right.
Go live. Okay, we're waiting.
When did she get on? When did she get on Instagram?
She just got on. Connecting. All right.
Oh, good. Hey, you walking and you got your headphones on?
Yes, I do.
All right then. Well, good morning, ma'am.
How y'all doing?
You looking great, but it don't look like you got no food. Don't say it loud. I know you ready to say something.
Okay, let's see. The one that had a comment here. It says when you have one W-2 spouse, set hours guaranteed pay, and the other self-employed multiple entrepreneur. Identifying special times together is rocky at first and constantly has to be reanalyzed, especially when the business is growing. Okay, so but here's my thing, and I want to answer that.
Mm-hmm.
The job is not worth the sacrifice of the family. I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna say that. You have to make your family priority. So what is it? Is God, your spouse,
And your children.
and your children,
Yeah.
in that order. So you have to put it on the board. I don't care if you have to get your cell phone and set the alarm. Okay, today at 5 o'clock, I'm shutting it off. Anything I get after 5 o'clock, an email, a text message, or whatever, it'll get answered tomorrow.
And
you know.
And another thing too, and I'm gonna push your borders. Is that if it's growing, then Lord, I need you to give me an assistant.
There you go.
So they can
Can't
be
do
able
it all
to
by
take,
yourself.
so they can take care of my weekend people that I may need to show a home, or my weekend crew that's going to, redo a home. That somebody can look over that, because if it's growing, and I believe you,
Right.
I just want to expand your borders and go and just ask God to go and send you a good assistant that can go out and learn from you, and you teach them how to do what you're doing, and they can support you in that space. I think that's important, because I know that what you're trying to do, and I know the business of all. I understand. Just
Right.
know that. And so I think that would be a good prayer that I would pray with Millicent to support you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So,
We'll pray for some
so
better
even
ones.
in that, yeah. So even in that, there has to be a lot of training and a lot of teaching, and then you have to go back and ask those questions. They have to model what you're teaching them.
Oh yeah, 4 things: model, practice, support,
Okay.
and feedback. If you do those 4 things, that's my theme for the year. You do those 4 things, then it's hard for you not to have a good success, because if you modeling something, that means you don't went past unrealistic expectations, because you clearly identified and showed the person
Exactly.
this is how I want you to do it. And then when you practice with them, they're able to do a teach back to you and say, okay, you were showing me this. Is this what you wanted me to do? Then at that point you can say yes, or you can make corrections, and then do that.
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
So I used to set alarms on my phone to compliment my husband and uplift him, do intentional things to uplift your spouse, even if it is to set alarms to remind yourself to do it, because I would get so big. And you know what? That's all right. That's awesome.
Okay, that's good.
But because you did it intentionally
That's the word.
and effectively, that it worked. That's what matters. I don't care how you have to get it done. An alarm on the phone, a note on the board, a calendar, however it is you got to get it done. Get it done, and your marriage is gonna benefit from all of that.
Because I look at it it's not a missed opportunity. When you set those alarms, because you don't want to miss an opportunity. And if it was an issue where, let's say, and this is hypothetical, let's just say that your husband was saying, you know what, you just don't do this, you don't do that. So I'm gonna be proactive. I'm gonna make sure that I push some time in there where I let him know that I'm thinking about him. I'm being intentional, because I know how busy and how I can get sidetracked. I'm speaking from experience for me. I understand that. So whichever way you need to do it, because you love your spouse, then you need to go in and do that, and don't feel like there's some knock against you. It's only going to make your life and you be more intentional, because if there wasn't any intentionality in it, it wouldn't be planned out. So Yeah, I know it. So, what we got here?
So I want to address this question for LaWanda. Any self-employed person know your spouse has to have a special understanding some days and some nights. And that is very true. But again, don't make it a constant habit. You get what I'm saying? Where they're having more alone time than together time. It's hard, but you know, by any means
find that
necessary.
compromise, find that time, and then you know, and always just find a way to surprise your spouse.
Yeah.
Because we understand that when it's a lot of separation, sometimes that separation can just bring about other things. So when it's like that, you know, daily flirts and support really
All
go a
right,
long
hey
way.
Takita, hey cousin.
Daily flirts, okay then.
And support really go a long way in marriage. Yes, ma'am, you were spot on, honey.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna go on and embarrass her. I sent her a Bitmoji, and it was a curtain, and it was just one leg stuck out of the curtain. I sent that to her, and then it took her a while. And she sent me like 4 of them back. I said, ooh, wait a minute. So I got you with that. Daily flirt. So just think about what you can do, and you know, keep everything spicy. Number 2 is when I spoke to my spouse and tried to express how I felt, did I pray over the atmosphere first? And how not, what's that, okay?
I pray over the atmosphere first, and how not what, but how were my words and actions presented.
Okay.
So not what you were saying, but how did you say it? How did it come out?
What was your response and your reaction? So we're leaving question 2, but question 2 was really a spinoff of question 1. So go back and read question 2 so they can know that it was a spinoff of question 1.
Okay. So question 2 was how to cope with feeling trapped in your own home and expressing that to your spouse due to the pandemic. So that was question 2. That's what we answered.
And I forgot. I was supposed to be reading some of these words. Okay. So we'll do that right now. So now we're going to go to question 3.
Okay. Question 3 here is what to do when your spouse is selfish.
So let me go back and read some of these definitions so we can kind of bring some things into context. So we was talking about communication, and we'll be talking about selfishness, and we'll be talking about peace and expectation. So communication, the imparting of, it says the imparting or exchanging of information or news. The means of sending or receiving information. That is communication.
Right.
So your communication needs to be clear, it needs to be concise, and it needs to be something that you can model or show, especially if the expectation is that's the way you want to be understood. Now, which one are we on? Excuse me.
Number 3.
Number 3.
What to do when your spouse is selfish.
So the definition of selfish, it says of a person, action, or motive. Being selfish means lacking consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. That means, in a nutshell, all you do is think about you. You don't give a rat's butt about nobody else. It's I, me, and mine, and everything above the sky. Did that right? I didn't do none of that. But it says how do you present a question or how you come to your spouse is huge. That will set the mood for the conversation. Yeah. And if you know your spouse is like super tense, that is not the time for the conversation.
So this is what I learned. In times like that, when you know it's not the right time, you go to your spouse and you schedule an appointment. You know,
get ready for this question.
At this time, you know, I would like for us to have a conversation. You don't even have to get a topic of the message or the concern, but you schedule a date and a time. that may sound weird, but I promise you it takes the edge off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because then that kind of makes that other person make sure they don't have nothing going on, that they get other stuff out the way, and then it's just your intentional focus on one another and on the conversation.
It works. And I think it's been, we know, and so my thing is with that, I don't want you, if your spouse asks you to schedule a time for you to think about all of the defense mechanisms and everything that you need to put up to be ready to come in there to battle, like you got some shield and you get ready to go to battle. No, what you really want to do is you want to really be more open and less closed off to the fact that it might not even be what you thought it was. It could be totally something else.
So having a conversation with your spouse does not mean having to be prepared and equipped with the full armor on, y'all.
Yeah. When they're ready to go right now. So where are we at with this?
Okay. So first of all, did we answer question 3?
No, we didn't. I just said the definition.
Okay.
So you have it written over here? You do not. So it says what to do when my spouse is what? Selfish. All right, that's not the one. That's not it. I don't see a 3, sugar.
I think he was supposed to do number 3. So let's go to the scripture, because I do have those.
Okay.
And that's what it was.
Okay.
The scriptures.
Colossians 3 and 12. I'm going to find that. Colossians 3 and 12.
So if y'all have your Bibles, or pull it up or write it down.
Okay, here we go. So it says, it's NIV. It says, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, humility, kindness, gentleness, and patience. I think I said that wrong. Clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with one another and forgive one another. If any one of you have a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. So the key to dealing with a selfish individual is to always walk in humility. You keep yourself humble, because the opposite of selfishness is humility. Self-serving somebody.
Right.
Because a selfish person is only going to serve himself. A person that's humble is ready for service for anyone. So, the words that we need to be focused on: compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. And I think it's some people on here that have a problem with one of those 5, some all 5, some 3 out of 5, 1 out of 5, some 4 out of 5, 0 out of 5. But wherever you are, you can do that. Hey, good morning. Good morning. You can put a spin on which one you think is the most pressing, and say, Lord, give me the strength to attack the one that I need the most. Is it patience? Is it humility? Is it kindness? Is it gentleness? Or is it compassion? That's how you combat selfishness.
Yeah. And Takia said, learning to calm that old tongue, pray before speaking, and trust in God even when I don't see a change. That has been my way. And that's what we have to do, because eventually they're going to get tired of being old and cantankerous, and some point in time get on board.
And I want to say something, because I had a meeting and it was starting to get a little boisterous, and so I stood my ground. And so then one of my members, one of my teammates, called and said, "How do you deal with us?" He said, "But you really are. You didn't waver." I said, "Because I'm focused on what I need to do, and I'm not going to get out of character when I know that I can just choose to serve." See, in the past, I wouldn't have served. I would have served up some words, But I didn't do that. So she was like, boy, you sure have a way of being able to handle how we come at you. You know, and because she felt like that's what was starting to happen. But it was okay. You know, I've learned to do better in that area because it's necessary.
Right.
Not just for dealing with work. It's really necessary in dealing with all aspects of life.
Yeah.
How you handle situations and your response, it really speaks to your personal growth. And if you want to be a better you, and God, the ultimate leader that sent down himself in flesh, the greatest leader of all time, if Jesus is the Jesus is the greatest leader of all time, let me just say that. And when he has already been through those situations, been misunderstood, been disrespected, not, you know, but always walked in humility, then we should be able to execute those type of characteristics.
And turning up the television, ladies, is not an option.
Where did that come
from? Turn up the television, no.
All they do is just make more problems.
Exactly.
Yep. And you know what? They already expect you to do it because they feel like you haven't changed.
So when they acting out of character or their selfishness is their character, then they know what buttons to push to get you riled up. So the next time they do it, you just give them the opposite of what they would expect.
The opposite. Not what they want to, not what you used to doing. And we've talked about that. Millicent said that I don't know how many times. You can't keep giving the same response if you want a different reaction.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen. And in their eyes, they're saying a couple of things that they may not actually express. You say that you are Christian, and you say that you exercise these specific personality traits.
Right.
But every time we get to the same point, you do the same thing. And you expect for me to change, and I'm going to uphold my stubbornness, and I'm not going to. Because the weight of your expectations on me makes me not want to do it. That don't come from me. That come from Devon Franklin. Because I remember when he said it. Because he wanted that woman to cook every day, and she said, I felt the weight of your expectation, and it made me not want to do it even more. So he did it. So you really need to go back and reflect on how must I, Lord Jesus, respond to you, because that is you too. Ain't just my husband, that's somebody you created. Ain't just my wife, that's somebody that you created for me. And if I'm acting like that with them, I'm acting like that with you.
Oh, wow.
So it's hard to kind of deal with that.
Yeah. And so, all right, LaWanda, good way to clean it up, girlfriend. See, we turned the TV up for a different reason. Okay?
Oh, okay, then. I'm about to say something. I'm not going to do it. I'm be good.
Okay, let's go to, because we kind of running out of time here.
Yeah,
let's go to James 3:16, because we're still on question 3 about dealing with the selfish spouse.
Yeah, James 3:16. Here we go. So it says in James 3:16, for where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you will find disorder and every evil practice. So if the issue is about somebody being selfish in the home, I'm gonna read it because I see it's coming back with the boomerang on back in the head.
Okay.
So if the person is being selfish, then it's gonna be disorder. Not because you're being a bad spouse. The word says that. Because if you being selfish and somebody trying to be humble, it's gonna be some disorder. Because somebody's gonna be feeling like they're being poo-pooed on. That's just normal stuff. So it says right here, but the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy, good fruit, impartial, and sincere. Peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness.
And that's James 3:16 through 18.
Yeah, James 3:16 through 18. So, what you can do is you can actually say, Lord, if my spouse is selfish, then I pray that you get rid of the disorder. that comes about the selfishness that he or she exhibits, because now you're praying over something that you notice that exists, and you want to apply the blood of Jesus to it so that you can see a significant change turnaround.
Right.
Your response is key, because you can't keep responding the way you did. And your atmosphere to your place needs to be different, because you get to control that. Nobody controls the atmosphere of your home but you. Nobody else has dominion over your home but you. Now, if somebody else has dominion over your home, then you need to pray over that too.
Okay.
You know,
That's
so
right.
you get to change and set the atmosphere for your home through different interactions. If you don't eat together, start eating together. If you don't play a game, play a game.
Right.
If you don't like the game that she plays, then play it anyway. All right? Learn how to play it. Love it. Take the medicine. All right. So.
Okay. And that's awesome, Victoria, because that means, being in tune, really in tune with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Because when it's brought to your attention in the Spirit, and you step back on your own without somebody else saying something to it, that's on point. That's it. Good morning, Mr. Johnson.
Hey, good morning.
I missed a whole lot over here. I'm sorry. Tabitha said she missed the verse.
But which one though? Is this
So, Tabitha, I'm going to give you James 3:16 through 18, and then Colossians 3:12.
Okay.
Those are the ones we were talking about the
We got
selfish
another
spouse.
one. 1 Timothy, what is that? 1 Timothy what?
1 Timothy 2:1 through 2.
Okay.
And they sure said talking should just happen and be natural, but a lot of times it's not, because they got all this other stuff on their mind, work, and they may have some unspoken fears.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've had some porch talk about that too. That our spouse don't always know how to communicate what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to make sure that our spouse also has a safe place to present those fears.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what we was working through, is that even though we've been married as long as we have, sometimes those things, the way people process things, if you truly don't understand how your spouse processes what they're internalizing or what they receive, it can be different, because we're not what's the word? We're not the same, and so our experiences on how we process information could be different. Some things she got spot on, but then when it's something that just really kind of hit a nerve, and it ain't got nothing to do with just like with us, it could be an outside hurt. Somebody hurt your feelings, and you just don't know how to deal with that, and you don't want to put all of that negativity into the house. But if the negativity out there is affecting the home, it needs to be addressed. So it says, I urge. This is really good. This is like the final answer for question 3. I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all of those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. So again, you're gonna have to set up you're gonna put on some boxing gloves, and you're gonna have to put the names of the things on that bag that you want to beat out of your life.
That's good.
Or out of your home, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because you're praying these petitions that you're sending before God. These are the intercessions and those things that you're being thankful for, so that you can bring attention not to the person, but to the behavior. If that makes sense. We want to attack the behavior, because the person we love, we don't love their behavior.
Right.
All right. Question 4. Because we got to get those scriptures in question 4. Because it's one that's going to bring you.
The last question was, when work becomes your place of peace instead of your home.
All right. Oh, and so I do have to read that. Let me, okay. Let me just, because there's questions on there for that.
All
so
right.
It says, reflect and search to find the source of discord and strife in the house. If work becomes the place of peace, what is at work that makes you feel like you're at peace that you're not receiving that at home?
Right.
You have to reflect and find out what is the source, what is the root cause of what is causing discord in the home.
Right.
Because what I've learned with my wife is, if it's something that's not been addressed, and you are both of us, we think it's just going to go away. It's not going away. It needs to be addressed because it's going to continue to resurface. It's going to continue to come back out.
Yeah.
It is going to be like just water hitting the beach. The dirt goes back into the ocean, and the ocean pushes it back on the beach. So there's no difference.
So the thing is, and that's a hard self conversation.
Yeah.
But it's one, we always talk about those hard conversations are necessary. That's a hard conversation with yourself that's necessary. You have to reflect back, find out where the disconnect started or the discord started. Then here's the really hard part. You have to learn what part of that was yours and own it. You have to own your part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then God help me to get that rectified. Help me to get that restored and changed. And then you have to turn around and walk in humbleness and go get it right with your spouse.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work, y'all, but marriage is work.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's worth it to have that marriage the way God intended it to be,
mm-hmm.
then you got to put the work in.
And if it's expectations that you are wanting from your spouse, then you got to clearly communicate and model that. You're going to have to actually say, sometimes, let me show you what I am expecting you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then understand that if they can't do it, it's not they don't want to do it. If they can't do it, then you might have to be at peace with that.
Right.
But on the other hand, loving each other is meaning to be able to love a person in the way they want to receive the love. I guess that's what I'm saying. So then you want to model that, and then they need to practice what I said. Model, practice, provide support, and then feedback. Feedback is ongoing. It's ongoing.
But realizing what that root cause is, until you get it right with yourself, that don't mean, going to discuss that with your spouse and then trying to make your spouse own their part. No, that's an internal conversation. You learn where the disconnect was, you own your part, and then learn how to get it right. You can't make somebody else realize what their part was in owning something. If they don't do it on their own, they don't ask for God to bring it to their attention and the Holy Spirit reveal it to them,
Mm-hmm.
you do what you're supposed to do and just keep it moving.
So in 2 Corinthians, I don't know, I feel like I'm in the wrong
2
part.
Corinthians 13
Yeah.
and 11.
Finally, brothers and sisters, rejoice. Strive for full restoration. Encourage one another. Be of one mind. Live in peace. And the God of love and peace will be with you. You have to strive for restoration. And in order to do that, you have to do what Millicent said. You got to own your part, and you got to apologize and ask for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
That means that person is releasing you from you feeling like crap about what you did and not reliving that old same crappy response all the time. I've owned my part. Mm-hmm. I've done my dirt. I've asked you to forgive me. Now we need to move forward. We don't need to be going backward, talking about it again. It's over. It's done. We need to move forward.
Right.
But you do need to have ownership. Now, that takes us to this scripture, and I think we can land the plane.
And so it's Ephesians 2 and 14 is our last scripture.
Now, it says, for he himself is our peace, who has made the two groups one and has destroyed the barrier, the dividing wall of hostility. See, some people have already mentioned that they feel like a prisoner in their own home because there are barriers in the home that have not been knocked down. Some people said selfishness of my spouse. How do I deal with that? Because you need to be humble. You need to petition God with intercession over those things that you see that are occurring, because you know that you can deal with that. Then the other one, because it says, by setting aside in the flesh the law with the commands and regulations, his purpose was to create in himself one new humanity out of the two, making peace and in one body. to reconcile both of them to God. You are excellent peacemakers, because when it's internal peace, external peace is not even a question about is it going to happen.
Right.
So going back to number 4, so that we can fully. Oh, it stopped. We ran out of time?
It did. We ran out of time over here.
So we done lost our Instagram audience.
Nope. There we go. I'm
Okay.
just going to put it back on. Okay.
Okay. So the thing is, we really want to thank you. You should not, I don't want anyone to feel like they don't have peace in their house. But if you feeling that way, ask God to help you with the peace. Ask Him to help you that your internal peace can be external peace. Ask Him to help you to pinpoint, name, and attack whatever spirit that is, either in your own self or that's in the husband or the spouse that you think, that you not think, but you see, that's causing these barriers and these walls to go up.
So the other part to that is still on the last question, number 4. So once you're doing all of that, and it's going to require the work, and you may feel like, well, dog, why is it all on me? Somebody got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. So the thing is, once you're doing that work, then trying to make a difference at home, are you praying over the atmosphere of your home? Are you praying for change? Are you asking God for peace? And then are you doing different things to break up the monotony of the discord? Are you doing different things? Are you doing something that your spouse wouldn't expect you to do? You know, do you come home with flowers? Do you start complimenting your spouse on, you know, things that they normally do but you never say nothing about? Do something different. Because if you just walk around and you're not trying to do something different, you're going to continue to get the same thing. Yeah.
So this was very interesting, and I hope that you were able to get something out of this. I hope we've covered all of the topics. I'm real concerned about number 4 because I really think that, you know, really focusing on your feelings of, or reflecting on what's peaceful at work and it's not peaceful at home. If it's not peaceful at home, reflect and think about what it is that's causing this, and quit looking at it as something that you can walk away from. It has to be faced, no matter how difficult the conversation is, the crying, the fussing, the arguing. It is something that is a stench, and it is not going away. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be attacked. It needs to be, you know, exposed, because the enemy's like, hey, all they're doing is trying to put asphalt on a street that they need to dig up and repave. You know, because you know what happens when you put asphalt on a street and you haven't dug it up and repaved it. A heavy truck gonna come in and make a pothole, and it's gonna be exposed again. Over time, the street was smooth on the asphalt. We getting up and down the road, and after a while, a chunk comes off. Then here comes it again. That thing has been exposed, and it's back because it's never been addressed. It's just been put to the side. So every time you come home from your peaceful place at work and you get to your unpeaceful place at home, wherever that is, now start praying, Lord, it is very difficult for me to have a conversation about this. Or I don't even know what it is. So at least can you bring me back to a space where I can start writing down what potentially this could be that's attacking my home, so that I can either schedule a time or just talk about it with my spouse, so that we can get this thing defeated.
Yeah. That's it.
That's why I had that one hand toward you.
That's it. Because I know you and I have had plenty of conversations about that, definitely. Yep.
Wait a minute. Hey, LaWanda, you got some She said Bath and Body Works has large candles, half off.
Today, okay, I'm going.
Black cherry Merlot.
I'm going. I'm there. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm gonna be good because I could really tell you something, one that I could tell you something that could really get somebody's attention.
Go ahead. Go and say it.
You want me to say it?
Go and say it.
Okay.
I can take it. I'm a big girl.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
No, it's good.
Go ahead.
Huh. So, I have been surprised with an apron. And that's it. Oh. Apron. I want you to think back. You served me dinner with an apron? Yay. Yeah.
Doing something different.
Yeah.
Bring the spice back.
Habanero, cayenne pepper spice. So the thing is, have fun today. Reflect on some of these things if you feel like it's something that you need to, pray about. Don't ever feel like you are alone because you're not. God is with you. He's with us. He's with all of us that's looking. We have an incredible responsibility of being a change agent, not just in our home, not just with our spouse and our children, but other people are watching you. And not for one time will I ever ask you to put on a show, because shows are fake. But what I am saying is that as you study and grow, develop, change, you don't know the lives that you're impacting. And all of you have that power, all of you have that strength, all of you have those different and unique characteristics and traits that make you who you are.
Right.
And we are all here for each other. So we went over a little bit, but I really appreciate the fact that my wonderful wife was able to pitch that question about, hey, what do you want us to talk about? And wait a minute, they started coming in. Yeah. So we dealt with the first 4 questions. We'll start with the next ones. I don't know if you wrote them in
here.
So
the ones we dealt with today were being a supportive spouse through the pandemic, number 1. Number 2 was how to cope with feeling trapped in your own house and expressing that to your spouse due to the pandemic. Number 3 was what do you do with when your spouse is selfish. And number 4, when work becomes your place of peace instead of home. So hopefully we've hit all of those questions for you. The forum is never closed, so I always go back and check if there are other questions or comments or concerns. Please keep your topic suggestions coming.
Yeah,
we got 2 more on the table because we got 3 more topics already on the table. So we're just going to keep it going. As long as we get different topics in, we're going to keep it going. Try to address 4 every time. And hopefully that's positively impacting someone, or someone you know.
And let me know if you all would like to do a Zoom meeting where we can see everybody, because then we can change our location, go to a larger camera, I mean not a camera but the TV, and then we can see everybody. But just let me know if that's something that y'all are interested in, and if you want to do that, we don't have to do that all the time, but if you want to do that, we can send a link, and then we can be able to do Zoom, and we can just sit and have fun and talk. And sometimes, and I know one thing that's real cool about doing a Zoom meeting is when you want to do like a game night. There is a way to do a game night on Zoom. I could not believe that it was, but it was. My wife was like, y'all in there crazy. Because we were making all this noise, and she was like, what are they doing? We did a crazy bingo for Zoom night, because pandemic was just out of control. And so we were trying to look at different ways that we could have fun. And so it was pretty cool. So just let us know if you want to do that. Do we need to read that? Because I didn't see it.
So I want y'all to make sure that Sonia Empowers went back and she made a major statement. So I want y'all to please go back and read that. That is awesome. Because I always say, going with that, you can't put a price on your peace. You cannot put a price on your peace. So whatever it is you have to do, like she was saying, spending time with God, just praying, and even if it's not in a peaceful situation, God can give you peace even in this situation.
Okay.
But still praying and believing Him for change.
Wait a minute. Is that Opal?
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Opal.
So, Sonia, thank you for that.
Opal, how are you? What's up?
Okay. I think I was late, but I was blessed. I think Zoom would be off the chain. Okay, so we're going to try to figure it out, guys.
Oh,
well,
no,
he knows how to do it, so I'm the one guy trying to figure it out, because I don't know what I'm doing.
I get her to set up my camera. Yeah, and be camera ready. Because
Okay,
you know
be camera
what
ready.
happens when your camera is on and you, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So make sure that you
And if you're ready up top and not on the bottom, don't get up.
Be camera ready and use camera etiquette. Because I'm telling you, we done had some meetings and people, boy, and if my wife walking around looking up under the table to see if I got on pants, oh my God, that's just so disrespectful. I ain't gonna do that.
All right. All right, guys.
She want to know what your shirt says.
My shirt says, Power Up. This is for Apostles Eric and Phyllis Wiggins in Power One.
Power up.
So if y'all check out the Facebook page, Apostle Wiggins is on our page every morning live at 5.
Yeah, he get up at 5 o'clock and start praying. He always doing warfare.
Yeah, you're going to get wrote up for being late, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
We don't go because our power is going out. We don't have a cord. So we love you guys.
That's why it's going down?
Yep, that's why it's going down.
Good.
So we're way over time, but we love each and every one of you. We appreciate you being here. It's been an amazing conversation today. All the input, the love. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. And we look forward to seeing you guys next Saturday.
Yeah, we're going to be doing Zoom because we're talking about live drawing.
Okay. All right, good. So we got our work cut out for us.
Yeah, we'll be ready.
So we'll let you all know. We'll keep you updated as we go. We love you guys. Have a blessed and amazing day and weekend. And we will see you next Saturday to discuss more marriage matters.
Because your marriage matters. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye. And you can record on Zoom. So